So, do you listen properly? By practicing self-awareness, you can listen with greater care, not only to words, but also to the emotion and meaning that's being expressed. So often we are listening only to reply, without really listening to what's going on. We're worried that we won't know what to say, so we're formulating words before we've even tried to listen properly. We even start talking before the other person is finished. And I'm just as guilty of this as the next person, so I'm very much on my case not to do this. However, I do recognize that I am a human, and when I get excited about something, I forget and jump in on the conversation before the other person's finished. And if the speaker pauses to gather some thoughts, well, that's it. That's another opportunity for us to use to jump in and fill the void with our thoughts and our ideas. Rather than letting the speaker feel really heard, it feels like we're pressurizing them and pursuing them to talk faster because they sense we want to override them with anything that they have to say. The speaker definitely doesn't feel validated. And that's what we all want. We want to be heard and validated. So this constant sense of urgency to speak can hinder genuine communication. By listening mindfully, you can be the witness of how you interact with others and make an effort to add value to the exchange for both sides. So the key to mindful listening is to simply notice when your mind begins to plan what you're going to say rather than listening, and then gently bring your focus back to listening to the other person. You can train yourself to stop from interrupting, adding your point of view or sharing similar experiences, because this takes away from the speaker's experience by making it about you. Instead of projecting your experience or feelings onto their message, the idea is to listen with the intention only to hear, with an open, receptive, non-judgmental and compassionate ear. One way to practice this is to repeat back to the speaker what you think you heard him or her say, to see if you fully understood what the person's trying to communicate. You might be surprised by how often your mental and emotional filters lead to misinterpretation, however subtle. This practice is really so important. We all have our conversational patterns, but seeing these tendencies is a way to learn about yourself from the outside in and the inside out, and to know how to be truly present for someone else. With self-awareness, we can begin to listen with greater care, not only to words, but also to the emotion and meaning that the speaker is expressing. You'll not only learn from the speaker about who he or she is and what's happening in his or her life, but you'll feel more connected. It's interesting to note that we can experience a sense of almost freedom when we start to listen mindfully, rather than being all tense because we're trying to think of what to say next. Instead, we are free to really hear and process what's being said. It's not a tennis match like hitting the ball back and forth in order to win the next point. It's actually a gift to you and the one talking. Mindful listening is so fundamentally different from how we usually converse. We can feel it in our bodies as much as in our heads. In that space and perspective that you create, you can ultimately respond with greater wisdom and skill, but only when it's your turn. So why not try this out? When you're in a conversation where you want to really listen, take a few deep breaths just to bring yourself into the present moment. and ask yourself, what is this person communicating about? What's behind the words? It's almost like hearing between the words. What are they feeling? And when the other person is speaking, just listen. Use non-verbal signals like nodding or smiling. Just an indication, the eye contact, to let the person know you're tuned in to them and what's going on for them. And when you realize your mind has drifted for whatever reason, because believe me, it will happen, let go of the thoughts and plans and return your attention to what the person's saying. And lastly, tuning into your own body can give you valuable information about your direct experience when you're listening. There might be tightness in your chest, or you might feel a little bit uneasy in your belly, or you might even feel a bit of lightness in your body and a sense of joy. I find that I sometimes pick up on what's going on with the other person by what's going on in my body. So it's good to have that self-awareness. When you get fairly good at listening mindfully without speaking, begin to experiment maybe with offering a couple of short comments that express kindness or ask questions that deepen your understanding. Be curious. The key is to keep the focus on the speaker, not to bend it around yourself. So you can try something like, oh, that sounds like it might have been quite tough, and so what happened next? So just be curious. And there's a lovely quote by the poet and philosopher Mark Nepo. To listen is to lean in softly with a willingness to be changed by what we hear.